We are recording the interview with NF himself.
Hey,
Hello, hello.
hello. Oh, here it goes. I was trying to turn the video on.
Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good.
We got an interesting story. So tell us a little bit about you first.
Well, um, so basically, just a little bit of kind of what happened too is pretty much. I went to California and I was working with like they were called and they're on YouTube. And basically, they pretty much, I guess, discovered me in a sense. So I met with the head A&R there. His name's and I'm not going to say the other label or whatever just for now, but basically that was the introduction of where I kind of got started. I technically got signed with them in 2014, and they've never paid me a penny. But they've, like I said on the message to you, they actually have covered my travel expenses, but they still have yet to pay a penny. So I'm not like necessarily, you know, mad at them or like want to go after them necessarily, but I do feel like I've been, kind of wronged, or I don't know what's happened. You know what I'm saying?
So
It,
yeah, so our question was from the email because you said you never got a penny.
yeah,
But is that just? Are you just talking about record sales, or is
no,
this about other
everything.
stuff?
Merchandise sales on the website, and I did over like 100. I would say about 100 dates and touring within the past few years, and some of those average the shows probably average sometimes 2,500 up to 10,000 people.
You had tried to talk to some lawyers.
Yeah,
And now,
yeah.
what did these lawyers have to say to you in response when you tried to bring it to their attention?
Well, to be honest, I tried to contact a decent amount of lawyers, and it's really hard to find an entertainment lawyer that wants to like try to pick something like this up. I mean, I did find a couple, but then basically this one guy said he was going to work with me, and then he just like never called me back. I talked to him like a couple times, and then what happened was I actually got a letter from the label that said basically you're not NF or whatever, and then if you keep trying to pursue this, then we will have to take legal action. But I'm like, I mean, I don't have anything to lose either, so I'm like, I don't know what to do.
So, like another quick question I had for you, because you were talking about how you got started and how you got
Yeah,
noticed and all of that. What were you doing initially before you ever got noticed by any of the talent agencies or anything? Had you put out? Did you put out a mixtape or an EP or any
yeah,
projects on SoundCloud, anything like that?
yeah. There was basically my pretty much my first thing that happened was it's called the Moments album, and it was like basically an independent released album that my friend and this just kind of like random other producer guy, he helped to basically produce it. All we had was just like a studio stand up mic and a headset, the big headset, and then basically he just had like a laptop, and we did it in like a dorm type thing, and then that was released under the name Nathan Fierstein, because like a lot of rappers, they don't actually go by like Waka Flocka or Gucci,
Right.
or
Sure.
Well,
it's not the real name.
Nathan Fierstein, it's interesting that you say that because on your Wikipedia page, because I had
Yeah,
to look at the general information, like what's out there, and
yeah,
that says that Nathan Fierstein is your real name, which I thought was a little strange. But Owen, of course, was telling me that some of those sources are just like fan bloggers and stuff like that. It might not be the most reputable source.
yeah. Well, what's crazy too is like, and I try to tell some of my friends this too and stuff. Like, there's another white rapper. He's from Connecticut, and he goes by Wit or Wit Lowry. I don't know if you've heard of him, but his actual name is not Wit. It sounds like it would be his real name, but his
Right.
actual name, his legal name is Mark.
Now, the other thing that you had mentioned at one point in time was that you didn't necessarily sign any kind of like tangible, legally binding contract.
Yeah, and that's another pretty crazy thing as well, because I actually looked on the label's website and I saw another guy recently who I guess got signed, and he was actually signing hard copy, white paper.
Something you
He was,
never did.
I never directly signed like an actual contract.
Now, if so facto, now I mean, this is all kind of layman stuff, but I mean, I've heard from a few different people that I've talked to that, like, if so facto, if you didn't sign anything, then essentially you've run into a pitfall where the label can essentially use your image, your art, every piece of recorded material that they paid for you to do under their label. They own all of that now, which is really sad. But like, is that kind of how you feel like things are going when it comes to that?
Yeah, that's what I think may have happened. So I'm
Oh
not sure
man.
what to do now.
So let's keep moving here. I want to get to the really crazy part of this. If it's
Yeah.
not crazy enough already.
I mean, the craziest thing that you did bring up was that you happened to go to one of your
Yeah.
own shows and see a body double, a doppelganger of yourself.
Yeah, it was like a body double or a stunt double. Because on a concert video, which I would have to really search back and try to find because there's so many concert videos. But basically, he thought he was like, bro, I think I just heard someone say that at the NF concert that's his stunt. Like he didn't say stunt double, but he said that's his stunt. And my friend was like, that's pretty crazy. I re-listened to it and I was like, that's insane, bro. That's really weird.
And I'm sure.
And then now that would make sense, you know.
I mean, now at these shows of yours, because we watched some of the other videos, the lights are really low. Obviously, you got the ball cap on in a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of strobe lights and everything going around. So I guess the label just thought, oh, we'll be able to pass this off. Nobody will ever know when the lights are down like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's another weird thing is most of the videos, my official music videos do look like me, I believe personally. And I remember, obviously the locations and stuff like that where they were filmed, but there are a couple videos that look like that stunt double because the hair does not look the same. That's the only main difference. The hair on like the NF When I Grow Up music video, it's like curly, almost like curly and kind of like longer. And I haven't had my hair like that in years, like over 10 years basically. So I know that was not me. I know this sounds insane, but like I've even told some people in my family and they don't even like believe me, which is crazy to me. Like something strange is going on. And I'm not saying
they knew that you were doing all of these shows before. They knew that you were going out and touring. They knew that you had merchandise. Yeah. And then what?
The crazy thing is, I'll ask like a lot of my friends, my personal friends will admit that I am NF, but some of my family, they're like, shut up. I mean,
so
they don't really
who in your family are you talking about? Your parents? Like, did you move out of your parents' place? Like when?
Yeah,
when are you talking about?
I've moved out now and everything for sure, but like even my brother, he said, oh, that's not you, and my dad or whatever, and it's just crazy. I mean, to me, but and I have the same facial features, the same exact hair color, the same length, the same skin color, obviously, the same height, the same body weight. I mean, there's no way, you know what I'm saying?
There was one thing. Now, when we were going through a bunch of the videos, because obviously, you're talking about all these very specific things, right? We did the same thing. We poured through all these videos, zoomed in, and I mean, a lot of it's shoddy quality, shoddy camera work. Some of it's in high definition. The one thing that I noticed, that I'm not seeing it on your face, so this might be the double. There was on the right side of the face in in a couple of the videos. I thought so what I thought it was, I swear to you what I thought it was. What I thought it was, like, when somebody like breaks their orbital bone as a kid playing hockey or something, and then it never just quite heals right. I thought that was what it was, and it was just some weird way that the light was playing shadows off of it.
Oh no, it was actual like paint type stuff that I put on my face. Yeah, to like mimic the Joker from the Dark Knight movie or whatever.
Because we saw it in a lot of your earlier videos, and then I'm like, I don't see it in these ones. That's the body double.
Right.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, like I said, I went to the Charlotte, North Carolina concert last year in September, like I said, and then it wasn't me on stage. I went with my friend, and then I was telling him the whole time, I was like, bro, this is crazy, I was like, I'm NF, and he was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if you say it, I guess. But then we went to the concert, and it wasn't me on stage, and I'm like, this is insane. I don't know what's going on, but this is crazy. Like, I need to get paid, like I'm not just trying to work for free when supposedly I'm at least worth, a few $1 million at the least.
Right. That's really discouraging. I mean, everybody wants to be recognized for their work.
Yeah, I feel like even
Yeah.
if you sink all of the money into lawyers' fees, it makes a difference to just know that you own the stuff that you created. And
Yeah.
this is one thing that I was taught from a very young age, and this is one of the reasons why I have not, signed with a big label, a big publisher, and all this stuff, is because I specifically want to retain my ownership of my content, and even if that means I have a smaller audience and a smaller reputation. I think it's important for artists to keep that in mind. Is to don't necessarily think that you're exchanging your intellectual property for some great riches, because then you've lost the most important thing, right? So
Yeah.
All right, well, perfect, man. Well, then I tell you what. Thank you so much for your time, Jeremy. We're gonna look at more into this, and we're gonna get back to you as soon as we know more, my man.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to take up all your time today, but thank you so much for tuning in with us. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We'll be in touch
Bye.
soon, brother.
Peace out, dude. That was fucking bizarre, man.
Bizarre. Oh, it was so.
Fucking weird, man. So, guys, that was the interview with NF. Before we give our final thoughts here, I just want to say, let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you an NF fan?
Because we really need NF fans to help us out, because this is the kind of thing where we did not know who this person, we didn't know who NF was. It's just not something that we follow. And, so we kind of need actual fans of his to either completely dispel whatever it is that we've come across, or just give us something. Give us your feedback. We desperately need it, because as much as I try to rack my brain about this, it's like I said it before, why would you invest so much time and effort into fabricating this story about being an underground rap sensation? But at the same time, I don't know. It's just too weird of a story.
Yeah, are you guys as indecisive on this as we are, or does it sound completely ridiculous to you if you're a fan of this guy? Because like you just said, we're not as familiar with NF. So here's the point: like, we've put a lot of time into trying to compile a lot of evidence here, and to kind of paint as much of the narrative as clearly as we can from this fine gentleman's perspective. So basically, we have let's compile, let's conclude here.
Okay.
And we'll put all the evidence out on the line, and you all can give us your final thoughts in the comments down below. So we have the picture of the jacket that he sent, right? Which was the same jacket that NF had in the music video. We have screenshots from his friends who said, hey, you sound exactly like him, and you are probably him because of whatever reason. These people that apparently know him well enough to be able to say, hey, you're the same guy. Yeah, of course. I know you. That's you.
We also have the interview itself that we did with him, which, keep in mind, that's a Skype interview. And while we were doing it, you were pulling up pictures and putting it next to the screen so that we could, of course, the pictures that we're finding make it seem like they were 10 years prior, so it still kind of makes sense. But
yeah, because people's face can undergo slight changes over the years, especially with men after age 30. You're gonna start to have a little bit more water retention and fat retention and all that. So a little bit of change in facial proportion, I think, is not a total deal breaker. But we also have the fact that he mentioned a lot of very particular details about NF's career, and he mentioned details about the record label and about the executives and the A&R people who worked at these labels. He mentioned other artists that he collaborated with, and he even said, hey, reach out to these guys.
Now, that was a bit of a dead end, because he gave us a list of those. He gave us a list of those names. Now, when all we have to go on is the names, not the he didn't give us any sort of contact information for these people to use,
Right.
like that he wanted us to use. So the only thing that I had to go on was the name that he was giving me and the spellings that he gave me, and he gave accurate spellings. I was able to find these people online. That wasn't the hard part. The more difficult part was trying to find an email address that I genuinely thought was going to be viewed by somebody on their team or like by them personally. But I got no email responses from any of the emails that I sent out.
Well, especially if you're emailing, PR relations at info dot record label dot, auto reply. If you're not getting like a personal address, what are you really expecting?
Right.
But if we had gotten a reply, that would have been, I think, a little bit more compelling evidence from somebody saying, hey, it was weird. He came in one show and he was 6'3", and then he came in the next show and he was 5'7". It was the weirdest thing. So we didn't have anything like that to show you guys, but maybe one of the artists or maybe one of the band members from any group who has performed with NF might have some more light to shed on this story. But as of now, all of that has been kind of
I think it'd be great
fruitless.
if one of the people that I tried to contact actually saw this video. I'm not, I'm grabbing at strings here, but that would be, just a shot in the dark.
Are you
It'd be
guilt
wonderful.
tripping these poor
I am
bands?
guilt tripping these people for not responding to my email. That's for starters.
Right. And I feel like a lot of these artists could be just as naive as the NF.
He suggested, well, he didn't.
They might just not know.
They might not
just
know.
have no clue, and they might just be like, "Oh, this doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard about before." So,
Right.
Who's this crazy person trying to ask me about body doubles and all this kind of stuff? That's basically all the evidence that we have. We got the screenshots. We have some photos.
Yep.
We have a couple of band names and a couple of A&R people that ended up not giving us any other additional evidence other than the interview with the guy Jeremy, who has claimed to be NF. I don't know if I want to disclose his whole private information, but we'll just call him Jeremy. And yes, he's a very nice guy, but that's all the evidence we have. So what I'll ask you is, what was the nature of you reaching out to them? What did you ask them specifically?
So the way that I went about it, and I think I did the exact same thing, but I worded each one of them differently. Well, I started every one by saying, like, hi, this is my name, this is who I am, and I'm the co-host on a podcast known as the OC Podcast on the Owen Adams Music.
The #1 Bible-based music business podcast.
Right.
Subscribe below. No.
So, I started that off, and then I also followed that up by saying that we were contacted contacted because of a video that we released about a year ago, and all of them, just so that I could give our credentials and prove that we were who we said that we were.
Right.
I put the link to the YouTube video of the Evil in the Music Industry video that originally got this whole ball rolling.
Mhm.
So that way they could see where this all started. And they could also go to the comment section and see where his comment that he left.
Right, because I pinned that comment up to the very top. So,
Right.
yeah.
So I put that in there, and then I talked about the person that we had been talking about Jeremy, and talked about how we had been talking to him, and said that we had recently conducted an interview with him, and that we'd really like to interview them and ask them a few questions. Anything at all would be helpful. And I even said to one of them, like, even if you email me back saying to leave you alone, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And even that would be something. Something. But I got nothing from any of them. So it was a very big disappointment.
But we did validate that all these groups do exist, and
yeah,
so they did perform and they did do what Jeremy says, but we're just unable to confirm or deny any of the particulars here.
yeah.
Right.
And our opinion on whether or not we believe that the man that we have been in contact with is NF is really irrelevant.
Right. Also, our
'Cause we
opinion
need
has
help.
gone up and down, and it's changed. It's gone back. Some days we're up, some days we're down. With each different thing that we find out about this crazy story, it's like sometimes we feel like this is definitely we gotta help this guy get his money, and then he'll say something that's just like, wait a minute, like now I'm kind of questioning it. And so it's almost like at the end of the day, do we really want to find out what the real truth is here?
Right.
Because it could be even more ridiculous
Than what
we already think.
What we're formulating.
It could be something 10 times weirder. You know, they could be genetically created in a lab, and they could be clones made
That'd
in
be
vitro. And
yeah, right. We're gonna start spouting off stuff like that
Hey,
now
you
here
know
on
what?
the OC
There was-
podcast. I love that.
actually, the rapper Kid Boo
Kid,
claims that he was actually a clone, that he was created in a laboratory to be like a genetically modified rapper. This is a real thing.
Okay, that's a whole new facet.
So it could be something weird like that. You never
That'd be
know.
great. That'd be wonderful.
But like we said in the first video, we've been looking for like precedents to see what kind of other issues have arisen in a similar way in the music business before. And we found a couple of more since the first little installment. And
The most
tell
classic.
the
okay.
folks about some
okay.
of these
So
other
the most
ones,
classically.
besides Nikki Sixx and all of that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You know?
So besides Nikki Sixx and the most classic one that everybody has always referred to for decades is the Paul McCartney being dead one. But one that's actually a little bit more recent that seemed more similar to what we're looking at, still different, but it's found more similarities in this story than any others. The one involving Andrew WK. So the gist that I got from that, and you can pull up some articles if you want. The one about Andrew WK, the gist of it seemed to be that he was kind of helped out by his father early on in his career. His father was some sort of lawyer or whatever, and he basically worked with a team of consultants. He had people to help him along his way to craft the image that would become Andrew WK.
Mhm.
Now, just like with anything that starts making money for multiple people, you know, Andrew WK essentially became a brand name of sorts. He was huge on MTV. He made appearances and guest appearances on show after show after show. He's in a bunch of cartoons. He's in an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force randomly.
really?
Yeah. He's in everything. And great message, really positive guy. Like pretty much no bad press about the dude. Well, at some point in time, when he was about to release his next album, The Wolf, and he was doing some like promotional gig. He had grown a beard or shaved a beard or something with his beard. And he had done a show, and in the middle of it, he cancels the rest of the show and leaves the show. And some people speculated that it wasn't even really him at the show. There were a couple doubles who had essentially played him at some of his appearances. I don't know where these appearances were or which ones are the
So
exact.
they just said that's not the real him,
Right.
Okay.
But then he lays low for a little bit, comes back out on the scene to his now career as like a motivational speaker. Brilliant job. But when he comes back out on the scene in the more recent times, he's shaved the beard, he's gained a little bit of weight, and it seems like everybody who was very invested, everybody that like the people in the comment section, I saw a Reddit thread about it. I saw 2 articles about it. Everybody, and I've read the comment sections in those 2, and everybody that has obsessed about it enough seemed to kind of think the same thing, that Andrew WK, on the chronology of things, Andrew WK's 1 and 3 were definitely Andrew WK, but they're saying that Andrew 2 was not. At one point in time, he was interviewed by David Letterman even, and when Letterman asked him to basically dispel the rumor, he didn't ask him to dispel the rumor, but he just kind of brought it up like, how do you respond to these people who say that you were played by a body double, or say that there was somebody, it was not you that was on stage?
Mhm.
He kind of diverted. He kind of diverted the topic and tried to change the subject. Now, he could have done that for one of two reasons. Either he loves this publicity so much, which he had stated before that he did like the publicity and he thought it was funny. He could have just been trying to perpetuate it because any publicity is good publicity.
Very
or
true.
he genuinely didn't want to say yeah, there was like 4 performances back in 2006 where I had some rough stuff going on, and we got this guy to do it, but a couple fans caught on, so we had to cancel the shows early. Like, it could have been something as simple as that, but he's not going to say that in front of David Letterman.
Yeah.
The reason that I said that it's kind of like our situation here with Jeremy and NF and that whole situation is that there doesn't seem to be a clear-cut, 100% definitive answer.
And there doesn't need to be.
There doesn't.
Right?
There doesn't.
We don't want to put this video out there to start causing a bunch of conspiracies and, you know, try to call out NF fans. Oh, y'all have been paying money to a body double and he's fake and you guys are stupid. We're not trying to say that. We're just asking the question, and I think even causing this this discussion to go forward, it can do no harm, I don't think. I think it can only help create additional publicity for NF. And if this is a real thing, if NF really is the same guy as our friend Jeremy, and he has been ripped off for, you know, millions of dollars, then at the very best case scenario, we might get the fans involved to help, you know, lay this to rest and possibly get our buddy his money back that he rightfully deserves.
It only just brings back the one question that if all of this was one big wild goose chase, why?
Yeah,
Why?
That's the question.
Why did I need to know all this stuff about NF, the rapper,
Right.
if this is really just some dude named Jeremy, this guy named Jeremy, maybe he was just sitting there, you know? These guys would really like to hear some NF music and know way too much about his life.
They look really stupid and bored. I'm
They
gonna
look
give
really
them something
stupid
to
and
do.
bored.
I'll give them a video to make.
And I mean, considering we did all of this, I guess we kind of did, you know, we proved his point in that regard.
Yeah.
We were bored enough to do all of that research.
You know what? But here's the thing, though, that's different about us, because he said
I
that-
spent way too much time thinking about this.
But guess what, though? I think it's worth it because, again, we're going to get all kinds of NF fans watching this video and sending us hate mail and dislikes, which benefits us immensely. The big deal here is you don't want to wait till after you're scammed to start calling lawyers on the phone, because at that point, it's probably going to be too late.
Yep.
You guys out there, if nothing else, take a lesson.
It was
from
too late.
this.
It was too late in Jeremy's story.
He didn't look out for himself, and as much as I hate to say it, he kind of reaps what he sows in this case. That's our opinion here. You know, definitely let us know what you think about all that in the comment section. We'll keep the conversation going. Even if you disagree, even if we're completely off base and completely wrong, let us know. Hit that dislike button and prove us wrong. Educate us in the comment section. And then also make sure that you guys out there hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell if you want to be notified on our future uploads, future installments. If we have any new crazy additions to this story, we'll be updating it right here. So you want to subscribe to get that update. And absolutely make sure to share this video with all the NF fans you know, with all the rappers that you know, with all of the conspiracy theorists that you know. And we're going to pretty much leave it there and let you guys pick up the torch where we left it. So that's all I really have to say on this, Connor. Did you want to add anything else before we get up out of here?
Nope. I think we got it all said and done. With that being said, this has been the OC Podcast.
And we are signing out.